Ted needs to call SVA Consulting.
Why?
Because SVA Consulting has been transforming businesses and delivering measurable results to clients for nearly 20 years.
How can I learn more?
Easy. Go to svaconsulting.com/adapt.
Thanks. Wait, who are you?
Hi, John McGivern here. Did you know Network Health Medicare Advantage plans start at $0 a month? And you can get the extra benefits you need, like dental, vision, over-the-counter items, and more? I know because I'm a member myself. Call 833-7-NETWORK to learn more today. Network Health Medicare Advantage plans include PPO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Network Health Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal.
Brett Eckstein, attorney at Cannon and Dunphy.
The question I most often get after someone's been wrongly injured is, will my case go to trial? The answer? Most cases settle out of court. And that's the goal at Cannon and Dunphy if you've been wrongly injured. The fact is, at Cannon and Dunphy, we prepare every case for trial because often insurance companies are unreasonable. And that's how we win for our clients.
If you've been wrongly injured, learn more by going to the Cannon and Dunphy website or check them out on Instagram.
Covering the Crew all season long on WTMJ, it's Brewers Extra Innings. Now live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee at the Avenue. Here is your host, Dominic Cotroneo.
Back in the win column, Brewers, another nail-biter. They win 3-2 over the Pirates. Bullpen was the story today. 4 2/3 innings. They allowed 1 hit, no runs. Yoel Payam slams the save. McGill and Peguero and Hudson all get holds. Rather, Hudson gets the win, I beg your pardon. Great stuff once again from the Brewers' arms. Bryce Wilson did well. Really one mistake. I want to break down his start here for sure. The offense, though, once again has me scratching my head, to say the least. And there's certainly one play that really had me scratching my head, but maybe we just need to know more from the clubhouse reaction in this one. Nonetheless, we're not going to pick at too many nits here after a win, getting back on track. They get the 3-2 win. They're now 6-1 in one-run games. They're now 14-0 when leading after 7 innings. And today was the day that I could picture, imagine this bullpen now adding in Devin Williams. Or imagine this bullpen when you get J.B. Bukowskis healthy again. And let your mind wander of how dominant it could be by the end of the year. However, make sure they still have arms attached to them because they are being used like crazy. I've got some numbers to support that and a little bit later. Craig Kashan is going to join us once his television duties are done. Again, Brewers win 3-2 in this one. Let me give you the final box on this before we get into our 3 most important plays of the game. Brewers, 3 runs on 7 hits. They committed 2 errors, both in the last 3 batters of the game. Pittsburgh had 2 runs on 4 hits. They also committed 2 errors. Brewers left 10 runners on base. They went 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. The Pirates left 7 runners on base. They went 0 for 4 in RISP situations. The Brewers' runners in scoring position woes have been interesting. Now, this is why, the raw numbers don't tell you the whole story and why batting averages and sample sizes and how statistics work, right? 2 for 6 is .333. But obviously you watched the same game that I did and said, they're still leaving opportunities with runners in scoring position. When you look at the numbers from their first 13 games, they were the best team in baseball with runners in scoring position. But we told you that this was not sustainable. They were hitting nearly 400 with runners in scoring position, a .395 batting average, and an 1,100 OPS. They had 49 hits with runners in scoring position in their first 13 games. And now, in the 10 games since, they're hitting just .231 and have more than half the hits. 23 hits versus 49 hits. Now, I know it's 3 fewer games, but something to certainly monitor. Trying to get that back more toward a league average mark. League average mark is right around 240, 250 for a whole season. If you can get that back around that rate, you will stay with that boost that you got in the first 13 games all season long. Before we get into the most important plays of the game. Let me get to a few texts and a couple of calls. 855-616-1620. Again, 855-616-1620. How long can this patched-up pitching do its amazing and winning with lack of hitting right now with this team is Murphy's Leprechauns? Yeah, I like that. That one's from Doug. The pitching's going to be the story. We did get good news on Robert Gasser today. He made his return to AAA Nashville through 4 innings, touched 95 miles an hour. Velo was there. I imagine they might want to give him one more start in AAA, maybe get 5 innings under his belt. And the Brewers were not shy in spring training saying, yes, they optioned him, but they know he is going to provide to the big league club and maybe even as soon as next week. So Robert Gasser can certainly be somebody that can maybe fill into Bryce Wilson's role. Another text here, this one from David in Superior. What do you think about the Brewers trying to steal home at the top of the 6th with Contreras at the plate? I think with anyone else at the plate, it's not a bad idea, but he's so hot right now, why not just try to hit Sal home and save it out? Only heard it on the radio, so maybe on TV made more sense. Quite frankly, it didn't make sense to me, but I do want to get into that a little bit later on in the program, too. In the meantime, let's get to Brian out in Tosa. Brian, welcome back on Brewers Extra Innings.
Good evening, Dom. There's a lot of good things. They kind of gifted this one to us tonight. We got one hit in that rally, and I don't know if the home plate umpire was not that great for either side. He missed some pretty close, looked like sure strikes. He called balls, but anyways, you're right, El. My concern is how long is this sustainable with the bullpen? Because we're not. What did you say? I think last night we have the shortest stint starting pitching in the whole league. Number of innings we're going, so it's gonna catch up with us. I mean, we got a lot of arms, but we just got to get to Williams, and are we going to be intact by then? And my other concern is we've averaged 2 runs the last 4 games, basically 8 runs, and we've won 2, but that's not going to fly against the Yankees and the Rays, I don't think. I know the Yankees are hitting really terrible, but their pitching must be pretty good if they got the record they have. So I'm concerned going into the 6-game homestand where we haven't played as well as it is, that we got to get, other than Contreras, and he had 3 over 6 hits tonight. I mean, we got to get other people going. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough homestand. But, I mean, it's still a win. We'll take it, and hopefully tomorrow Freddie will do what Freddie does. We'll come home on a high note and then just, see what we can do to get out of this next 6-game one no worse than 3-3.
Yeah, I agree with everything, especially on the offensive front there, Brian. Thanks for your call. And Yelich, we found out today, did start to do some running as he tries to return from his strained lower back, and that just sounds like it's going to be a day-by-day thing. To double-check on the numbers here for you in regards to fewest innings from the starting rotation, I'm just double-checking that is still accurate by the end of the day. While that loads up, here's another note that I just researched because somebody on Twitter asked me to do so. With 139 games to go, no big deal. What's the record for most innings covered by non-starters over 162 games? The Brewers' record came back in 2019 when they had 670 innings. And reminder, that was before the 3-batter minimum. I don't think we're going to see that again. Granted, that team averaged out to about 4.13 innings per game from the bullpen. Whereas right now, 2024's bullpen, including tonight, is averaging 4.8 innings per game. I don't think that's going to last the entire season because of the 3-batter minimum rule and because of the guys that you have on their way back. You'll have traditional starters over your next 3 games. Freddie going tomorrow, Colin on Friday, Ross on Saturday, maybe even Tobias again on Sunday. Give him a normal day, and maybe it'll be Gasser. Maybe it'll be somebody else that comes up to fill a spot start for the Brewers. I don't think this is going to last the entire season. But, we've teased it a couple of times here talking about the most important play of the game. It was the stolen base moment, and we'll get into it with Craig. I want to save the conversation with him, but, you can throw the other 3 plays out of the book. This was the most important play of the game for me, especially if the Brewers were going to lose this game.
There goes the runner. The pitch is high. The throw to second goes through. Terang's in there safely. Dashing home is Frelick. The throw to the plate will get him. Triolo cut in front of the bag and made the throw home, and they got Frelick at the plate.
I'll save the full argument with Craig, but let me just present both sides of the fence here. One side is what we've talked about already. William Contreras, your best hitter, your leadoff spot. You've got a guy who's 12 for 12 in stolen bases on first base. Maybe it's just let him steal second base to avoid the double play. And quite frankly, in that situation, if I'm the Pirates, I'm probably not throwing all the way through. And as we could tell, the play was on for Triolo to step in front of the bag anyway and make sure Frelick would stay at third base. So that's one side of the fence saying, yeah, just let him steal. You've got your best hitter at the plate, let him hit. The other side of the fence, though, and this is something that I thought about as the game went on, this offense has struggled, as Brian just reminded us. They have not been good offensively lately. Yeah, they had that 12 spot the other day, but other than that, they're averaging 2-3 runs a game. And the last time the Brewers did this, I call it schoolyard, backyard, recess play, it was against Corbin Burnes when their offense was scuffling in Baltimore. And it worked in that game. In that difference, though, Sal was the decoy. He stopped, and that throw had gone all the way into second base, and Perkins read it perfectly because they decided to put Sal into the rundown. This was a straight steal from Turang. He went all the way through. He was not stopping. So until I hear from Pat Murphy, I'm waiting on the tweets from the clubhouse here on, all right, was Sal going on his own? Was that play on? Was it a read play? I don't know what he's actually going to say, if he's going to call out his player or anything like that. But that's both sides of the fence, and I want to get into it with Craig Kashan in just a little bit. The phone number is 855-616-1620. Again, 855-616-1620 if you want to join us here on the program. Also want to remind you that Brewers Extra Innings all season long is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. With a local Milwaukee team, Fifth Third Bank also knows how to hit it out of the park. They've been serving businesses in the area for nearly 15 years, offering industry-specific expertise and local decision-making capabilities to help your business succeed. This is commercial banking value only Fifth Third can deliver. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, member FDIC. And also to wrap up the thought here real quick, on the fewest innings in baseball from a starting pitching staff, they have the third fewest innings among a starting pitching staff in baseball. The only teams that have fewer innings than them from their starting staff are the Cubs and the White Sox, literally by an inning. The Cubs have 108 innings. The White Sox have 108 in the third innings. And that is all including tonight's action, as tonight the Cubs are currently leading 4-2, and they got 5 2/3 from Tyone tonight, and that actually does not include Tyone tonight. So that number will come up. It's between the White Sox and the Brewers for the fewest innings from their starting rotation so far on the young season. So I wanted to wrap that up as well. Got to talk about the bullpen, though, coming up next, and then we'll talk some more offense and that play and everything with Craig Kashan in just a little bit. Take a breather, come back with more right here on your home of the Brewers, 620 WTMJ.
Coming up, more Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
All Brewers games are on sale now. Coming up, a weekend showdown with the Yankees, Friday, April 26th through Sunday, the 28th. Start the series with Friday's hockey night. Then take home a limited edition Brewers City Connect Tumbler Cup at the game on Saturday, the 27th. Presented by Quick Trip. Don't miss out on a marquee weekend of baseball. Grab your seats at brewers.com/tickets.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers, where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scafidi. I talk a lot about politics, but sometimes I just want to sit back and have a nice conversation about, well, whatever I want to on the Scafidiology podcast. Annie Schwartz, law enforcement communications expert, public safety, of course.
So the officers walked with Tracy Edwards back up to Dahmer's apartment door. They knocked on Dahmer's door, and Dahmer looks out and he sees the police.
You can listen to this conversation or any of my Scafidiology conversations wherever you get your podcast or at WTMJ.com.
This is Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
Welcome back. I'm Dominic Cotroneo. Craig will join us during this segment as well. Let me give some flowers to the bullpen right now, though, man. What a win, 3-2 tonight. The last 12 games, the Brewers' bullpen has been the best in baseball. A 1.43 ERA in throwing 50 in the third innings. Going back to what we were just talking about, of how much they're being used, how sustainable is this? They're not getting the strikeouts like they used to, but today I felt like was the first day in a while the Brewers could say, yeah, the full bullpen was ready to go. Everybody was available tonight. And yes, there were going to be a couple of back-to-backs in there if you so chose. But to have the vision, you didn't even use Uribe tonight, right? You went with Wilson to Hudson. You know, Wilson, generally a bullpen guy, getting the starts for right now, getting these spot starts. But you go Hudson to Peguero to McGill to Pyops. That's pretty much how you draw it up, right? I mean, and you still got Uribe available tomorrow, Milner available tomorrow. Granted, there's only a few lefties, and they've been using the pinch hitter very aggressively between Rowdy and Sawinski. I don't know if Hudson would go back-to-back after what he did tonight. He gets the win once again, his second big league win. He has only allowed one hit in his last 7+ innings. He threw a total of, 22 pitches. So I bet he is down for tomorrow. But my favorite number with Hudson, 22 pitches, 17 strikes. Another great move by the Brewers to bring in somebody that, as we've mentioned before, Dodgers ran out of room on their roster when they wanted Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and they had to give up Hudson. Brewers offered up a trade. Everybody's happy. And Brian Hudson has been really the difference maker, in my opinion, of the entire pitching staff in the first month of the season. Yes, that includes Freddie Peralta. I don't know where this team is right now without a few of these stops from Brian Hudson so far this year as they improve to 15-8 tonight. Another thing about the bullpen, with McGill getting back on track, I know he was hurt and had the scary concussion situation. I think we need to give this guy a little bit more respect. I know it was wild in that first game, and there's traffic here and there. He's allowed one run this year. He's barely pitched because of the concussion. But tonight was the first night that I can say that looked like Trevor McGill of what we're used to, especially, I tweeted it already, at Dom_Catronio. The tunnel that he did with his fastball elevated at 99, then hammer curveball to Brian Reynolds, that just had my jaw on the floor. That was disgusting stuff. As we welcome in Craig Kashan here to the program, as I'm just praising the bullpen with all the numbers and everything, and this has become the new normal for the Brewers, Craig, in that there's no weak link in that bullpen, you can truly say, and today was pretty much exactly how you draw it up with everybody available.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good stuff. I mean, these guys look like they're pitching right now, getting ready for, September or October, to be honest with you. I mean, they're that reliable, they're that dependable, and they're on their game, and they're raring to go. I mean, here's the thing: you just take a look at the poise and just the dependability that these guys have. Look no further than Pyops, the error that he had in that ninth inning. He hung with that ball, and he almost got the out. And more importantly, after that, he was able to withstand another error and mow through and get Andrew McCutchen. I just think individually here, these storylines are all very, very similar, which is a huge benefit right now for the Brewer pitching staff. What they're doing without basically a starting five rotation, beginning to end right now is phenomenal. It's been nothing short of phenomenal, quite frankly, as the Brewers go as their pitching goes, as we know, because the pitching is, I don't want to say like one's more important than the other, but quite frankly, you can win a game like tonight where you only had one true ball-in-play RBI, the base hit up the middle in the third by Contreras. Everything else was a bases-loaded hit by pitch and a bases-loaded walk. Okay, yes, they got the traffic, cool, but the pitching kept it a one-run game, kept them in it. And while we're on it, Bryce Wilson, I know the line doesn't tell the whole story. He's not eligible for the win, only going 4 1/3. He gave him more than 70 pitches, in his second start of the season. Honestly, yeah, the walks kind of caught up to him with the pitch count and having a lot of deep counts. Honestly, if you ask Bryce,
one mistake to Brian Reynolds. Otherwise, he could have maybe completed 5 innings and really kept the bullpen in shape. And I really like what I saw from Bryce Wilson today.
Yeah, I did too. And I don't know if, the long wait for that bottom of the third inning when the Brewers had that, they batted around with their 9 guys in the third and scored those 3 runs. What did that inning take? Pretty close to a half hour. I don't know. For a guy that's maybe not used to sitting and waiting and having to come out, I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. But really it doesn't matter because, yes, he gave up a 2-run home run, but that was it. I mean, that's all anybody gave up all night with that staff. And, I think personally, and I think we talked a little bit on the show last night about it, that for now anyway, there's absolutely no reason why Bryce Wilson shouldn't, stay in that rotation as long as they need him. And, the Brewers can do the responsibility thing and just make sure they've got key guys in that bullpen fresh and ready to go to help them out so you can replicate a night like this, because you probably will have to again. If he stretches out through a full 5 innings, great. If he gets to 6, I don't know if that could happen quite yet, but at least he gives you an opportunity to do what we saw tonight. And he's done that now twice here in the first month of the season.
I think he's been quietly another unsung hero, just like he was awarded that last season. But we're gonna sing him a little more this year of what he's been able to do to bridge and see if he can keep that up. I mean, he hasn't lost a game for the Brewers, and doesn't have an L next to his name at all as a Brewer. Let me get to a few texts here. 855-616-1620. 855-616-1620. A couple questions here about Joey Wiemer, and obviously that play in the 9th inning was tough to see because he's put in as a defensive replacement and then doesn't make the play. Joey, in my eyes, is pressing a little bit. He had a bad jump. I watched that on tape again. He had a bad jump on it. The metrics agree. Probably a ball that he should have caught, but because he had a bad jump. And to be fair to Joey, he was also playing back. He was also playing in no doubles in a ginormous ballpark on a cold night. But look, there's nothing other to say than this is the big leagues, and that ball needs to be caught. Obviously, Payamps took care of business against McCutchen, but yeah, it held my breath a little bit. And I feel for Joey Wiemer that he's not getting consistent playing time. But quite frankly, A, if you're not hitting, and B, if you're going to be risky in the outfield, it's going to be tough to keep getting playing time.
Yeah, I mean, this has send down or whatever written kind of all over it, to be honest with you, because Pat Murphy said after the game that play's unacceptable. Now, does that mean right away you'll never get an opportunity again, or you're going to get sent down right away? I don't know, but he doesn't get a lot of opportunities. And yes, you're right. You got to feel for a guy like that. But here's the thing. He's coming in basically in a situation like tonight, a 1-run game, where they need his defense out there. And, the defense has been solid for the Brewers, and it sure didn't look good in that 9th inning. But, I give a pass to a pitcher out there, but the error coming up there in left field and communication, all that kind of stuff, that just simply has to be made. And, yes, I feel for him too. I'm sure that he's pressing at the plate, and I'm sure he's pressing, in the outfield too, to some extent, that they lend to one another. But when the manager says it's unacceptable, then you got to worry a little bit if you're the player.
Yeah, and I both Barb and Racine and Lori from Franklin both asked about Joey Wiemer tonight. And I also want to remind folks, not only is Christian Yelich hurt, Garrett Mitchell's hurt too. And Garrett should be going on a rehab assignment hopefully mid-May or so to get ready to come back from his broken finger/hand, and that will help the defense as well. And we haven't even talked about the fact that Jackson Chourio has been in his first real slump as a big leaguer, and the Brewers are choosing to go with Jackson and try to hit his way through it, then give him a couple days off and go with Joey. So that could be broken down another time, and we do have to talk about Jackson a little bit later tonight. But, I mean, Joey is here because Garrett is hurt, and quite frankly, there's nobody else in the minor leagues that I would want to have up in the outfield. I know they have a couple of utility guys like Chris Roller and Vinny Capra, maybe they come up and make an impact at some point when they're really dire if there's injuries. But, yeah, Joey's kind of the fifth guy on the outside looking in, and they need that fifth guy without Yelling, without Mitchell on the active roster. Get to that sixth inning play here coming up after the break. Speaking of Pat Murphy, we do have his quotes and what he said about that play and the offense in general. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620, right here on your home of the Brewers, 620 WTMJ.
On deck, more Brewers Extra Innings.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Planning for the future should include your pets. What will happen to them if something happens to you? From setting up pet trusts, to securing a caretaker, to the best place to keep your pet's information. The Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, has the important resources you need. Download a free pet planning guide at hawspets.org and watch our informational video titled Planning for Your Pet's Future to ensure you're prepared. Plan for your pets. Learn more at hawspets.org.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scafidi. I talk a lot about politics, but sometimes I just want to sit back and have a nice conversation about, well, whatever I want to on the Scafidiology podcast. Annie Schwartz, law enforcement communications expert, public safety, of course.
So the officers walked with Tracy Edwards back up to Dahmer's apartment door. They knocked on Dahmer's door, and Dahmer looks out and he sees the police.
You can listen to this conversation or any of my Scafidiology conversations wherever you get your podcast or at WTMJ.com.
This is Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
Welcome back. I'm Tom Catronio. Craig Kashan is with us as well. Brewers Extra Innings. Brewers win 3-2 over the Pirates. BEI all season long is also brought to you in part by Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. For a limited time, you can save up to $1,500 off central air systems from Cider. You can schedule your appointment today at Cider, SEIDER.com. Cider, Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. All right, Craig, let's start talking about the sixth inning and that big play with the double steal. And I presented both sides of the fence earlier in the program, and I just want to give you the way I view it. Side number one, hey, you got your best hitter up. You got a guy who's 12 for 12 in stolen bases on first base. You got a good runner at third. You know, just let Bryce take the bag and then fight for another day. If they walk William, whatever. But you got your best hitter up. Give him a chance to do some damage with men on second and third, perhaps. Then the other side of the fence is, well, the Brewers' offense is struggling scoring runs right now. And the last time they did this was against Corbin Burns and the Orioles when they also were struggling to score runs in that game, and it worked. It was the other way around, though. Instead of Frelick in that game running all the way to second base, he stopped, got himself in a pickle. This one was a straight steal, and Terrain got to second, and Sal, in Pat Murphy's words here now, Sal did not get the jump that he wanted and maybe did not read the play properly. So I present it to you as Pat Murphy kind of tongue-in-cheek said, look, that play was on, that's part of our offense, but it was a matter of execution, not a matter of somebody made a mistake and actually doing the play. Like, they were okay with the play happening, but Sal just didn't get the jump he wanted. So which side of the fence do you lie on?
Well, I mean, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see an out on the bases, especially with your best hitter up. And I don't want to see, an out at the plate at any time. To be honest with you, those always bother me, especially when they can be avoided. I get, base hit, outfield, runners coming around. You got a good arm out there. Completely different scenario. I think with this, this play to me had two levels to it, two tiers to it. The first one was obviously Terang. He's got that bag. So he's your stolen base guy. He's got it. Part two, now that can be just the play there, according to what I understood from Pat Murphy. Sal Frelick does not have to go from third. He does not have to go. He doesn't have to get the perfect read and go. If he doesn't feel like he has, he doesn't have to go. But then Terang's at second base for sure. He's there. So you do have second and third with one out. Then Contreras either is intentionally walked and you load the bases for Adames, or maybe they pitch to Contreras and he has a chance to bring home two instead of one. But it all comes down to the runner at third and in the read. And, we don't know, I don't anyway, how deeply this play is set up with different scenarios. But, Pat Murphy explained it. They have, 3 to 4 reads, 3 to 4 options on this, depending upon left-handed batter, right-handed batter. And the guy at third has to know all of this. And when the play's called as quickly as it was in that at-bat for Contreras, it's a lot. And so you're the one responsible, though, if you're at third base, to make the right read and to make the right call. And it is as bang-bang as it gets. I don't know if it gets any more bang-bang than that. We saw it work in Baltimore. We didn't see it work tonight. So if they're going to keep doing that, which it sounded to me like they are, it's going to be part of their offense and their strategy. Well, they're batting 500 with that play right now.
I like the play with like 12 other hitters on this team. Not with that guy. just that. It could be with Willie. It could be with Reese. I'm fine with that. But not with that guy. With what he's been doing this season, he was already 3 for 3 at that point in the game. The Pirates did not want to pitch to him, and you could have forced the issue of like, all right, if you don't want to pitch to him, you got to load the bases for Willie. And they got to get out of jail free card because of it. But I don't want to hang up too much on it because the Brewers were okay with it. It was a matter of execution, not a matter of somebody making like a too aggressive thing. It was a matter of Sal didn't make the right read. They'll live with it. They're okay with it. The Brewers won the game. If they had lost the game, different story, of course.
Here's my final take on that. Maybe they don't do it if they're down 3-2. Maybe they only take a risk like that, and I'm saying take a risk like that with your best hitter up and risk getting an out. If they're up 3-2 like they were in the 6th inning. And you're right. You mentioned it, when you started this conversation. This offense has been almost non-existent for, more than a week for the most part. They need a spark. And so maybe there's other scenarios like that too where they're not going to do this if they need the runs and they're down. I'm not sure. Pat would have to explain that to us someday.
Yeah, and I agree when it comes to the situation. The situation is a key piece of context when you put this play on, because I believe in Baltimore it gave the Brewers the lead against Corbin Burns, right? I mean, you're going to do that every chance you can, or at least tied the game against Corbin Burns and something in that regard. You know what that guy's capable of. But speaking of the offense, let's shift over to Jackson Chourio here. Chourio, again today, 0 for 2. He dropped the sacrifice bunt. He has now, when you take out before the sac bunt, he had struck out in 5 consecutive plate appearances. He is now 3 for his last 29. He has struck out 14 times over those 29 at-bats. Certainly something to, 15 times in those 29 at-bats, so better than a 50% strikeout rate, which is not good. However, he's 20 years old. It is April 24th. He's got a lot to learn. I would imagine Jackson's going to get a day off tomorrow, but then after seeing what Joey did today, it's like, what do I do? But Jackson's just learning how to be a big leaguer, right?
He is, and, these are hard conversations and topics to discuss, between you and I, because we can't do anything to help the guy, and we don't – I don't know necessarily, shifting him back to AAA down the road here anytime soon is the right thing to do either. I just feel like I think I go back to what Murph said at spring training, just about whether Chourio would make the big league squad for opening day or not, that the team would know and he would know. And I really feel like this is going to be a similar situation if they have to cross this bridge of whether or not to send him back down to AAA, just to take a little bit of pressure off of him if he's feeling that. I don't know if he's feeling pressure. Seems to be handling everything else well, but you got to imagine at 20 years old, at some point, when this is the most elite professional sport you'll ever play in your life, that you want to perform at a high level, and if you're not, you're going to start feeling pressure. So, yeah, I don't have a great answer other than the fact that he definitely needs a day off. Maybe he needs 2 days off. Maybe he needs Friday off when they come back to Milwaukee too. If they can eke that out, who knows? I mean, we've seen plenty of guys get more than 1 day off if they can work it out that way.
A text came in here, too, about Gary Sanchez. Why wasn't he in the lineup today after going yard? Definitely need power and offense. Today was a bullpen day from the Pirates. They expected a lot of righties to come in. Didn't want to get Gary in that situation. Also, they DH'd Reese today, which would have been the spot for Gary anyway. That's part of the reason. But also, I imagine with tomorrow being a 12:30 local time game, 11:30 here Central Time, I bet Gary's going to be behind the plate tomorrow for Freddie Peralta, and William will be DHing. You know, that's generally what you do with catchers. But if Gary can continue to hit the ball hard and be a factor to this offense, that can help out with the speed, with the power and the speed. But right now, I mean, again today, no extra base hits for the Brewers offense. We know Churio will get going. Frelick reached base 4 times today. That was huge. And I know there's a few walks in there, and you can't, always depend on the bats being there. But look, it can't all be William Contreras while Christian Yelich is out. I'm going to need some pops somewhere else in this order, whether it is Willie, whether it is Reese, or even one of the young pups. I'm going to need some pop at some point here, and especially with the Bronx Bombers coming to town.
Yep, and, we've seen the lineup shuffle a little bit too. We were all talking during the game today about potentially moving Bryce Terang to the top of the order if you want to, save Contreras for that, traditional number 2 spot for him, the way he's hitting the ball and getting on base. Yeah, I mean, a lot of things need to happen for this team here right now. They're clearly in their first power slump, and they still have the horses out there to try to get her done. And, hopefully that'll happen tomorrow during the day game. That'd be nice. And then when they get back home, too.
I think with the Brewers offense right now, when Yelich comes back, we also have to be real about Yelich. Yelich may not be the same guy he was before the injury. I'm not saying like in a, oh my God, he's never going to be the same context. I'm saying I don't know if he's going to be hitting a home run every 5 at-bats kind of guy like we saw before the back injury. To expect him to be the end-all, fix-all, yeah, everything's going to be fine when Yelich comes back. No, that's why I'm saying let's get somebody other than William producing consistently. Blake Perkins, yeah, 3 walks today, cool. But he's cooled off this week in Pittsburgh after the great weekend in St. Louis. Joey Ortiz has really cooled off after that great road trip in Cincinnati and Baltimore. Frelick might be getting going again. Dunn has cooled off drastically. Terang keeps hitting singles, which I'm cool with that, and singles become doubles with him because of the stolen bases. But I just need somebody else to start picking up the slack for William, and that's why they're averaging 2 runs a game.
Yeah, and you got a lot of the guys that you mentioned there, and even Owen Miller got a start today, but only got 1 at bat because of the pitching change early for Pittsburgh. You're talking about a lot of guys that don't have a lot of experience on the major league side, just producing right now. And yes, they produced at one point, but they're also going to cool off, and we're seeing that cool off period here right now. And we don't know if some of these young guys have the ability to rebound in time enough on the major league level. These guys all know they're on the bubble a little bit. If they're not performing, they know where they're going to end up back at AAA for a lot of guys that are on this team here right now. So I think we're seeing that delicate run of, there are a few guys on this team that you have to count on, and then there are even more that somehow, some way, they got to figure out how to pass the baton and like they did earlier to some extent in order for this team to succeed offensively. There's the potential for this team offensively, and what we've seen so far still makes me feel a lot better than what I've seen over the last couple of years. I like their improvements. We just need to get some more at-bats for some of these guys, some more reps, get them feeling, comfortable when they're not, get them back in that comfort zone. So it's part of the process here right now. And thankfully it's early, and thankfully they've won 15 games.
And it's a good reminder, too, because you're right. 5, 6, 7, and 8 in the order today were all on their first opening day roster. And the guy that came in and pinch hit, Oliver Dunn, that makes it 5 guys that were in today's game that were on their first opening day roster just from the position point of view. All right, Freddie goes tomorrow. Real quick on your way out. I mean, Freddie, over under 6 1/3 innings tomorrow. Can he get into the 7th?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'll go for 7. I'll go for 7 for Fast Freddie tomorrow. I've been thoroughly impressed. Obviously, how can't you be? He's 2-0 with a 1.90, but the 33 strikeouts and only 4 walks is absolutely stunning to me. It really is, and so I'm looking forward to seeing him back out there again. He's done well in Pittsburgh in his career, but how he's just taken over this role of ace, it kind of scared me, to be honest with you, during spring training when he even brought it up himself. But I give him a lot of credit. He wants it. He's gone out there and proved it that he owns it. And who knows if he keeps this up throughout the season, where a certain award may be, or where he's putting this team potentially set up for a postseason run.
I mean, just a reminder, since the start of July last year, Freddie Peralta has been the 8th best starting pitcher in baseball according to Fangraphs WAR at 3 wins above replacement, and that's over the course of 18 starts, and he has the most strikeouts per 9 innings over that stretch. So I'm excited to see Freddie get the ball tomorrow, and I'm excited to give you a day off, Craig, well, at least from the radio side of things. We don't have a show tomorrow, but thank you for joining us all week from cold, damp Pittsburgh, I guess, as the offense can't get going, but you always bring the heat. Thank you, my friend.
All right, my man. Talk to you soon.
Craig Kashan here on WTMJ. We're going to change up the order of the show coming up next. We're going to listen to Pat Murphy's segment because he had a lot of good stuff in there today. Murph coming up next here on 620 WTMJ.
Coming up, more Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores seem to always have a great selection of women's summer clothing. Every year I check out their new selection, and I can usually find great deals on a cute pair of shorts or capris or a pretty sundress. And they always seem to have a few tank tops I like too. Plus, buying gently used clothing is like recycling, so I help the environment. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Amish outdoor furniture with poly and wood available. And that poly is the richest of outdoor furniture. It's just about indestructible and will virtually last forever. At Erickson's, we have poly furniture in abundance, so you're guaranteed to see a great selection. The beauty of it is you can put it outside all year round and not worry about it, because the color runs all the way through, so it doesn't fade, and minor nicks and scratches won't hurt the look. Erickson's Landscape Supply. For an abundant selection of poly and wood Amish outdoor furniture, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. You'll be hard-pressed to find a better selection of metal yard art than we have here at Erickson's. Anything from natural and painted metal signs to painted roosters from 1 to 6 feet tall. Natural steel flying ducks and cattails. Cute little frogs, geckos, pigs, flamingos, and goats. And palm trees. The list is endless. And that's why you come here. Erickson's Landscape Supply, right on Spring Street in Union Grove, where you'll find a fantastic array of artisanal metal yard art. Visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. Or better yet, drive on over and take a gander at the goods.
Sleep apnea is a serious condition. And the worst part about it is, because it affects you while you're sleeping, you don't know what this condition is doing to you.
And it was scary because I found out that I was waking up 145 times an hour. 145 times. I was scared. I wasn't getting the sleep I needed.
And that's the thing. Someone like John wakes up after thinking he's slept all night, and he's been feeling run down for years, and finally finds out something really is wrong. This is why, for us, solving sleep apnea problems is so gratifying, because we really are changing lives.
I've had more energy. I'm getting better sleep. I've been told from my wife I don't snore. But honestly, it changed my life.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. Solving your breathing triangle problems means a better quality of life, and you deserve that.
Go to AdventKnows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Advent knows.
Results may vary.
This is Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
Brewers win 3-2 over the Pirates. They'll go for the split tomorrow. Welcome in. I'm Dominic Cotroneo. You know, I've already quoted Murph a couple of times today. How about you just hear straight from him today? Here's what Pat Murphy had to say post-game today, and nail-biting, one-run win yet again for the Brewers.
Just talking that was a lot of action in the ninth inning in 11 pitches for Yoel Payams. What did you think about just his kind of composure to squash that right away?
You'd never know. There was chaos going on, but yeah, he made a great play recovering on that comebacker that he hit off the end of his glove. He made a great play, and Bowers made a great play, but the guy was just safe. And then, Joel kept his composure, and even after the miscommunication by our left fielder, that was usually you don't win those games, but he gets 2 outs after that.
How impressive was the execution against Kutch, too, with the way he's swinging right now?
Kutch is, you think he's going to be done, and you think he's going to be done. He's just, I saw him play in this park many times, and man, he's a special player. It's hard coming off the bench in the ninth, not knowing you're going to, and not knowing they're going to get to that spot. So, but he's done it many times, and I could have thought of a lot of guys I wanted up there before him. So, yeah.
There are a lot of guys on offense you could have highlighted tonight, but Blake Perkins with
who could we have highlighted?
William Contreras.
Yeah, Contreras.
South Free, putting the ball in play, making them, forcing them to throw the errors and things like that. But with Blake Perkins, you were talking about younger hitters and how the game can speed up on them. He draws 3 walks, including extending that big third inning. How impressive was it just to see him kind of slow down after?
Yeah, I mean, Blake's not swinging the bat in the last 3 or 4 days the way he had earlier in the season, and to contribute somehow just shows that he's, he understands winning.
What about Bryce Wilson getting his pitch count up to 75 and kind of what he gave you? Bryce
wasn't sharp. He'll be the first to tell you, but he didn't have his good stuff. His delivery seemed a little bit messy, but he hung in there and battled, and he gave us that last inning he gave us, the 5th, was really, really important. And that last full inning, that was really important. So.
Do you think this role for him, I don't know if I'm going to call it starter, but it's not an opener, is this, do you plan on this being a repeatable thing going forward, or would you prefer to have him
in the
6th inning?
I'm finding that out right now. I'm finding out I like him as a starter. I think he can do it, and I think he's just getting started at it, and I think he's very, very capable. So with our situation right now, I think he's a good option.
On the play that Weimer dropped, who should be taking that ball? Is that the left fielders?
Yeah. If the left fielder gets involved and opens his mouth, it's his ball, 100%. If Willie waves his hands and camps underneath it, then he just takes it and doesn't expect the outfielder to get involved. I don't know exactly what happened, but I know that Weimer was right there to catch it. So if you're right there to catch it, you catch it. Infielder's job is to get out of his way, which Willie did. Willie did everything right there, and Weimer let it drop. So it's his error. It's unacceptable.
What about the spot in the 6th inning with Bryce and Sal breaking from third? Bryce steals second. Sal trying to.
It's one of the plays in our offense, and there's a lot of reading to go on with it. You have to read where the defense is playing. You have to read, how the ball, what the pitch is, everything. But it's a steal of second. It's a steal of second, and then the guy at third has to kind of read the distance from third that the guy is, and Sal didn't get quite the jump he wanted to, so it looked like. It looked a little messy to get it out with Contreras at the plate, but that's part of our offense. You live by it and die by it. It wasn't the right read. Sal didn't get the right read on it. So,
is that a spot, first and third, where the read by the runner at third base is always in play? Like if the guy's got speed, it has to be called in that,
You have the option. And I can go over it with you sometime if you want to know. There's like 3 or 4 options. No, seriously. It's not simple. It's like 3 or 4 options. And with a right-handed hitter at the plate, the options change a little bit because how close the third baseman can play. With a left-handed hitter, the third baseman usually plays off a lot more, so you have more space, and it's a given. But because Bryce was the runner, we felt like we could steal the base for sure. So the only time you go is if, in fact, you think the third baseman's off or deep enough that doesn't affect you. It was just a bad read. But, it's part of our offense, and we're going to make aggressive mistakes like that, obviously, because we're not throwing up 8 and 9 runs a game. So was ill-advised in a poor time to get a bad read.
Yeah, one of those. He stood by it. He gave every reason I wanted to hear, and I'm in. I get it. They were trying to score runs. The offense has been pressed, and that was one of the sides of the fence that we talked about. So I'm all for it. Let's take a quick peek around the scoreboard, then we'll get to the highlights a little bit later. Brewers win 3-2 over the Pirates. Back with more after this on WTMJ.
Coming up, more Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
With a local Milwaukee team, Fifth Third Bank knows what success looks like. They've been serving businesses and individuals in the area for nearly 15 years, including a long-standing commitment to the healthcare industry. From expansion to treasury management, Fifth Third offers a full suite of financial services and solutions across the healthcare spectrum to meet the complex moments you're navigating. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
QC Kinetics announces the arrival of National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, an acclaimed orthopedic surgeon with 2 decades of experience and extensive research in regenerative medicine.
I was one of the first orthopedic surgeons to do it, and at the same time I integrated clinical research that's resulted in several publications that are really directing the future of regenerative medicine. I was drawn to QC Kinetics after I reviewed their protocols, and everything they were doing is consistent with my own approach.
Today, Dr. Scheinkup leads the entire team of medical professionals at QC Kinetics, taking this exciting medical breakthrough to a whole new level.
What we are doing at QC Kinetics is transforming lives.
Get lasting joint pain relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
This is the future of medicine.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Outdoor Living Unlimited turns yards into patios and decks, fire pits, pavers, retaining walls, even screen rooms, outdoor kitchens, and swimming pools. Come see it all at the unique Outside In Gerke's Corner showroom they share with Siding Unlimited at their open house this Saturday from 8 to 1. Bring your ideas, motivation, and questions to the product reps at the open house and meet the Outdoor Living Unlimited team. Check sidingunlimited.com and outdoorlivingunlimited.com and then get to the open house this Saturday from 8 to 1.
This is Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
Real quick look around the out-of-town scoreboard, then we'll get into some highlights after another break. A lot of day games today, of course, being a Wednesday. Brewers one of the few teams playing a 4-game series. As for the division, the Cubs did hang on to beat the Astros again. The Cubs are 15-9, the Brewers are 15-8, but the Cubs win 4-3. But they did get bad news earlier today. Cody Bellinger is headed to the IL due to a fractured rib. So that's 2/3 of their starting outfield on the IL, with Seiya Suzuki also on the IL with an oblique right now. The Brewers will see the Cubs next weekend down at Wrigley. The Reds taking on the Phillies today. Ellie De La Cruz, the Brewers woke him up, man. Ellie's having another good week. They're 14-10. They beat the Phillies today by a 7-4 final. Elsewhere here in the division, the Cardinals came back to beat the Diamondbacks. They scored a lot late. They win 5-1 over Arizona, the day game today, and Jordan Montgomery's return to St. Louis after they did not acquire him in the offseason as a free agent. And, handed them a loss today in their only matchup head-to-head, at least at Busch Stadium. The White Sox lost again, since that's one of the few things that people love to keep track of these days. White Sox lose to the Twins 6-3. It is now a 3-21 record for the Chicago White Sox. All right, highlights coming up next. Take one more breather after this on WTMJ.
Coming up, more Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
Trust in your family's comfort at home with Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. They're the oldest family-owned HVAC company in southeast Wisconsin. 4 generations of Ciders, and their highly trained technicians provide a one-stop shop for all home and business comfort needs, including an emergency service line that's always live and a 12-year parts and labor warranty on all Daikin products. Get peace of mind by scheduling maintenance today with Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. That's SEIDER, cider.com.
I'll say it again. Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. And what that means is wherever we go, we make it better for those in need of our services and the great people we have working with us. Our reputation matters. It matters to us, and it should matter to you. We believe that operating with integrity will set us apart from our competitors, and that this attracts people to us that share these same values. I say this because I want you to know when you work with Semper Fi, character counts. It's why you can count on the industry's hands-down best lifetime workmanship warranty that now includes free annual inspections. And it's why we always have one project manager per job, which is absolutely not the industry standard. When you're paying for a brand new roof to go on what's likely the biggest investment you have, you want it done right, and you want to be able to count on the people doing it. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
Keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Is it time to give your home a new look?
Absolutely.
Get personal care from Adair. Adair Floors and Remodeling has a design team ready to help with all flooring and remodeling needs, including tub to shower conversions. Want to create your dream kitchen, including cabinets? How about the rec room? Adair Floors and Remodeling has been family run in Franklin for over 65 years. For floors and all home remodeling needs, get personal care from Adair. Adair Floors and Remodeling, South 27th Street in Franklin, and online at adairfloors.com.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
All Brewers games are on sale now. Coming up, a weekend showdown with the Yankees, Friday, April 26th through Sunday, the 28th. Start the series with Friday's hockey night. Then take home a limited edition Brewers City Connect Tumbler Cup at the game on Saturday, the 27th. Presented by Quick Trip. Don't miss out on a marquee weekend of baseball. Grab your seats at brewers.com/tickets.
This is Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ. Ready for this?
Get up!
This?
Get up!
And this?
Get out of here! Go!
Time for tonight's highlights. Here's Dominic Catronio.
Game 3 of 4 of the Brewers visiting the Berg and the Pittsburgh Pirates. An opener and a bullpen game today for Pittsburgh. Josh Fleming, a lefty, open, so it's a little bit different lineup than usual. Bryce Wilson getting his second start in the last week. This game was scoreless through 2 innings. Another sleepy, cloudy, chilly day in Pittsburgh, but then things got going thanks to an error in the third. Frelick is aboard. Then Churio would strike out. A walk to Terang. Put runners on first and second for William Contreras at the plate.
1-1 line drive center field. William Contreras base hit. Rounding third base comes Frelick. The throw from Sowinski is going to be cut off. Good base running by Terang as well. He'll go first to third, and the Brewers score first.
Josh Mauer's call here on WTMJ. First time this series the Brewers managed to score first in this one. Then they got a couple of RBIs the hard way.
The runner's all in motion. 3-2 pitch inside. Did he hit the bat or did it hit Hoskins? It hit Hoskins. They appeal to see if he swung. They say no, and so the Brewers get a run. It is 2-0 on a bases-loaded hit-by pitch.
Reese Wood staying in the game. There were 2 hit batters with 2 strikes in the inning. Of course, Willie earlier in the frame, too. And then Blake Perkins. Hey, you need any help? Nope, just looking.
And it's 3-0 on Blake Perkins. The pitch way inside, ball 4. The Brewers get run number 3 in the third. Bases loaded walk on 4 pitches to Blake Perkins. It's 3-0 Milwaukee as Contreras trots home.
However, in the bottom of the third, the Pirates would respond. A 2-run homer from Brian Reynolds. Really the only mistake of the day for Bryce Wilson. He pitched very well. So a 3-2 score it would stay that way for a while. We talked a lot about the double steal that failed for the Brewers in the 6th inning. It's still 3-2. They hand it over to their bullpen in the 5th. Brian Hudson, he was great once again. He retired 5 of 6 batters faced. He also had another strikeout. In the 7th inning, it was Elvis Peguero. He walked the leadoff man, then got Henry Davis to ground into a double play, then the top of the order, and Connor Joe up.
Righty versus righty. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Back to the slide piece, and he got him. Beautiful pitch. And Peguero ends the 7th inning.
Peguero got a hold in the 7th. How about the 8th? A little bit of help for the defense with Trevor McGill getting his third baseman in on the act.
2-2. Ground ball behind the bag at third. Backhanded by Ortiz. Long throw skipped in the dirt. Dug out by Bowers. Wow, what a play. Nice play by Ortiz, and even better play by Bowers, and they got Hayes for the second out.
Fantastic. And then finally in the 9th, after a couple of errors from the Brewers, men on the corners, 2 outs, Andrew McCutchen at the plate.
Brewers trying to finish this one off. Payamps from the stretch. Kicks, delivers, swing and a miss. He struck him out. Elevated a fastball at 95. He strikes out McCutchen. And the Brewers hold on here on this Wednesday night, and they take down the Pirates by a final score of 3-2.
Lane Grindle's calls on the last 2 there. Brewers hang on to win. The bullpen was the star. Hudson gets the win, holds to McGill, and Peguero the save to Payamps. We'll wrap up the program. Look ahead to tomorrow quickly after this on WTMJ.
On deck, more Brewers Extra Innings.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scafidi. I talk a lot about politics, but sometimes I just want to sit back and have a nice conversation about, well, whatever I want to on the Scafidiology podcast. Annie Schwartz, law enforcement communications expert, public safety, of course.
So the officers walked with Tracy Edwards back up to Dahmer's apartment door. They knocked on Dahmer's door, and Dahmer looks out and he sees the police.
You can listen to this conversation or any of my Scafidiology conversations wherever you get your podcast or at WTMJ.com.
Challenge. Find Siding Unlimited's unique outside-in showroom. It's not easy. 665 Larry Court, Waukesha. You'll need it this Saturday for Siding Unlimited's open house from 8 to 1. Here's a clue. SidingUnlimited.com.
Each day there's a sliver of time when you can almost breathe freely. And you feel better when you can. But you know that eventually that sliver of time closes, along with your nose. It puts a damper on your day every day. So you pop a pill or you take a spray to try to get that relief back. But it's always short-lived. And all the while in your efforts to give yourself relief, you may be making your nasal breathing problems worse. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and a simple in-office procedure from Advent called balloon sinuplasty could be the fast and convenient answer to your breathing triangle problems. Advent has been a leader in this procedure, which can be hard to find elsewhere. It's simple, there's little to no downtime, and it really can be life-changing.
Go to AdventKnows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
This is Brewers Extra Innings on WTMJ.
I'm here as wrap up the program. Brewers win 3-2 tomorrow. Early one, coffee and donut breakfast. Freddie Peralta taking the mound against Mitch Keller. First pitch is scheduled for 11:35 Central Time. On the air at 11. right here on WTMJ. No postgame tomorrow, though, and no Brewers Weekly tomorrow night either. NFL draft coverage will be simulcasted from our friends at ESPN Milwaukee. But, man, Freddie tomorrow against the Pirates, a scuffling offense in that ballpark, sign me up. Should be a lot of fun. My thanks to our producer, Max Meyerson, and for Craig Kashan for joining us. I'm Dom Catronio. Until next time, keep on swinging.
Trust in your family's comfort at home with Cider Heating, Plumbing,